Ever feel like, those internet providers, they kind of have you stuck.
Oh, tell me about it.
Like, what are you going to do? Right. No internet.
Right. It's like a lifeline.
Exactly. But get this. There's this whole thing. Helium. They're trying to build a network, but like powered by people.
Yeah. I've been looking into it. It's called the Helium Network, and it's pretty wild. They're using cryptocurrency to make it all work.
Yeah, crypto. Like, who would have thought? We spent some time on their website really digging into this whole helium thing so we can break it down for you, see if it's the real deal or just a bunch of hype.
Exactly. So, at its core, Helium wants to create this decentralized wireless network.
Okay, so like not your Verizon or Comcast.
Exactly. Instead of those big telecom companies, Helium uses a whole bunch of regular users, people like you and me who host these things called hotspots.
Okay, so hotspots are like what, little cell towers or something?
Yeah, kind of. Like mini cell towers, but you can put them in your home, your business, wherever.
But hold on, I'm guessing people aren't just doing this out of the goodness of their hearts. There's got to be some incentive, right?
You got it. And that's where the cryptocurrency comes in. Helium uses something called HNT.
HNT.
And people who host these hotspots, they earn HNT for providing network coverage, keeping things running.
So let me guess, the more coverage you provide, the more HNT you earn.
Exactly. More users, more data flowing through your hotspot, the more HNT you get.
Smart. So that's the incentive for people to actually set up these hotspots, but what about actually using the network?
Right. Good question. That's where data credits come in.
Data credits. Lay it on me.
Okay, so think of data credits like, remember those old school prepaid phone cards?
Oh, yeah, back in the day.
It's kind of like that, but instead of minutes, you're paying for data. So you use these data credits to get online, browse, send stuff, all that jazz, but on the Helium network.
So instead of paying Verizon for my data plan, I could buy these data credits and use the Helium network, right? Okay, so I can buy these data credits to, say, send emails or browse the web. Got it. But where do they actually come from? How are they made?
Good question. They're not just appearing out of thin air. Users who need data credits, they basically use their HNT to get them.
So it's like a trade-off.
Exactly. You're essentially burning your HNT to mint or create those data credits.
Burning. That sounds kind of intense.
Well, it's just a term they use. Think of it like exchanging your dollars for tokens to play games at an arcade. You're essentially trading one thing for another.
Okay, I gotcha. But instead of air hockey, we're talking about like actual internet access here.
Right. Exactly. And the cool part is that each data credit has a fixed value. It's pegged to the US dollar, so you know what you're getting. It brings some much needed stability.
That makes a lot of sense. So like if the dollar goes up or down, the data credits kind of follow suit.
Exactly. It helps keep things predictable, in the often volatile world of crypto.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together, but let's zoom out for a second. This whole decentralization thing, it sounds amazing, but is it really going to be cheaper and faster than my current internet plan? Be honest.
That's the million-dollar question, right?
hmm
Honestly, it's still a bit early to say for sure. The cost, the speed, the reliability of Helium compared to your traditional internet providers, well, it can really vary.
So it's not a guaranteed slam dunk, especially
Yeah.
for someone used to like super fast broadband.
Right. It depends on your location, how built out the Helium network is in your area, all of that. It's still a young network, so it's got some growing to do.
Makes sense. But there's got to be something inherently appealing about kind of owning a piece of the internet rather than just being, a customer at the mercy of these big companies, right?
Absolutely. And that's the big idea behind decentralization. You hit the nail on the head. If you're hosting a hotspot, you're not just passively consuming the internet, you're actively participating in providing it. It changes the whole dynamic.
Right. It's like I'm not just a user, I'm part of the solution.
Exactly. And that has huge implications. Think about it. Data, privacy, censorship, all that stuff we worry about with giant corporations, it becomes less of an issue because the power is distributed.
It's like the Wild West of internet providers, which I got to admit is kind of exciting, but also a little bit, what am I getting myself into?
Right. It's still early days, for sure.
Okay, I have a bit of a nerdy question about HNT itself. I read somewhere that it has a fixed supply, which is different from, like, a lot of other cryptocurrencies, right?
You're absolutely right. That's a super important detail. Unlike some cryptocurrencies that can be mined forever, Helium has a hard limit.
Hard limit, like it literally stops.
Exactly. They're never going to create more than 223 million HNT ever.
Wow, 223 million, that's it.
That's it. And to make it even better, There was no pre-mine. Some crypto projects, the creators take a huge chunk for themselves right at the beginning, not Helium.
So it's like a level playing field from the get-go.
Exactly. And that limited supply, it's a big deal. The idea is that as more people use the network, the demand for HNT goes up, and since the supply is capped, well,
The price should go up, right?
bingo. At least that's the theory.
So if helium really explodes, HNT could become really valuable.
Hmm.
Fascinating. It's a wild world, this crypto stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm curious, are there any real-world examples of helium's impact so far?
Oh, absolutely. We're starting to see some really cool use cases. For example, there are communities in remote areas, places with limited internet access. They're actually turning to Helium to create their own network infrastructure.
Wow, that's amazing. They're like building their own internet service.
Exactly. They're setting up hotspots, creating coverage where there was none before. It's pretty inspiring. Imagine the possibilities. Education, healthcare, even just staying connected with loved ones, all because of this decentralized network.
That's incredible. It does feel like we're on the verge of like a potential internet revolution, or at least a really interesting alternative to the way things are now.
Definitely makes you think. What happens if this decentralized model goes mainstream? What does it mean for the future of connectivity, for how we communicate? It's a question worth pondering.
Big questions. It's definitely something to keep an eye on. If you're interested in learning more, head over to Helium's website. It's a fascinating rabbit hole to go down.